Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is the 8th of February, and we're on page 25 of the magazine. And we're commemorating a date, which is February 4th, 2004, the birth of Facebook.
好，那今天呢，我们要谈的是 Facebook， 而且是有一个纪念性的日子，对于 Facebook 来讲。好，那要注意的是，我们的中文标题是 Facebook 诞生在哈佛，今年满18。那这英文标题很清楚，The birth of Facebook。那要注意，这个 Facebook 重音在前面啊，这个不要念 Facebook 是中文啊，英文的话是 Facebook， 重音在前面。
But also everybody turns it into an acronym, FB. Everyone types FB.
Yeah. English too?
In English too, yeah.
Okay.
Everyone goes FB.
好，所以不管中文英文呢，其实用 FB 来代表 Facebook 都很常见。
Let's talk about the birth of Facebook. To countless people worldwide, the social networking website Facebook is synonymous with the internet itself. However, it is worth noting that, like many other successful companies, Facebook had humble beginnings. It was on February 4th, 2004, that student Mark Zuckerberg launched a service he called The Facebook at Harvard University. The original idea was that Zuckerberg's website would serve as a source of information for Harvard students about other students on campus they might like to get to know. The Facebook was an instant hit, with more than 1,000 students registering accounts within the first 24 hours. By the end of 2004, now just Facebook, the site was being used by students from more than 50 colleges across the United States. Not long afterwards, the platform became accessible to non-students. The rest, as they say, is history. But how has Facebook shaped our lives over the past 17 years? There is no denying that Facebook has played a major role in the current era of user-generated content. However, the development and growth of Facebook has not been without its controversies. In recent years, Facebook has invited criticism for enabling its users to influence global politics by spreading false information. Furthermore, many have questioned Facebook's data protection policies, arguing that the platform does not do enough to protect its users' personal information. Nevertheless, Facebook continues to go from strength to strength and will likely remain one of the world's most valuable companies for many years to come. Yeah, so let's start at the beginning of the article. To countless people worldwide. Countless means you can't count them. That means there's too many to count. The social networking website Facebook is synonymous with the internet itself. To be synonymous with something, it means it is assumed to be one and the same. So Facebook has never been the entire internet, but has always aimed to be the only thing that people use on the internet.
Yeah.
That has been explicitly their goal. They want to be the only internet for people. So to say that Facebook is synonymous with the internet is a scary thing because it's not true, but they want it to be true.
Yeah, 好，所以这篇文章其实我想可能表达的是很多人对 Facebook 的看法啊。那所以这个我们现在主要我们的焦点放在它英文上面啊。那他说 To countless people worldwide, countless 就是数不尽的、无数的啊。那有一个很棒的同义字 innumerable 啊，这个字是这样拼的 INNUMERABLE 好，有两个 N 哦。好 INNUMERABLE 好 innumerable， 所以有很多人，全世界有很多人好，对很多人来讲 worldwide 全世界，对于全世界的很多人来讲呢，这个 social networking website 就是社群网站哈 Facebook， 它是跟 to be synonymous with 就是跟什么 A 跟 B 是属于同义字，就是 A 其实是等于 B 的意思啊，或感觉起来等于 B。所以对很多人来讲呢 Facebook 感觉起来就等于就是网络它本身啊。那当然我们觉得这样子是不太好的哈，就是其实网络它是包罗万象的。好，那 Facebook 啊，它毕竟它只是个 business 啊。好，我们看下一句。
However, it is worth noting that like many other successful companies, Facebook had humble beginnings. So just like every other company, even successful ones, they all start small. They all start from somewhere, and it's usually humble, small, and not very beautiful.
Yeah, 好，所以呢，但是呢， It is worth noting that 就底下这件事情是值得我们注意的。It is worth noting that 那 that 就是那个 it is 那个 it 就是指后面 that 子句里面讲的东西。好，什么事情值得我们注意呢？他说就好像很多成功的公司一样啊，那 many other 注意要用 other， 因为 Facebook 本身就是个成功的公司啊，所以呢，当你说就像什么什么都要讲，就像其他的成功公司一样。那 Facebook had humble beginnings 啊 ，to have humble beginnings 就是中文讲的出身寒微啊，就起步的时候其实很不起眼。好，这个 humble 就是很不起眼，它本来是很谦虚的意思啊，但是 humble 它也可以指 low in status 啊，或者 status status 就是你的地位很低啊 ，humble 也可以说是 insignificant 啊，就看起来不显眼的，甚至于是 inferior 啊。不如人家的这样的一个 beginnings 它的这样一个起源，那 beginning 它要加 s。
So it was on February 4th, 2004, that student Mark Zuckerberg launched a service. He set a service in motion. He began a service that he called The Facebook at Harvard University. Now, it's interesting because Harvard University has a freshman register that is traditionally called the Facebook, and it's so that you can get to know incoming freshmen. So he took the name from this existing publication.
好，所以呢，这个地方讲到说，好，他是在这件事情是在2月4日，2004年的2月4日啊，就在这一天 ，It was on this day that 如何，什么事情发生了？就在这一天呢。Student 在这里是指他的身份，他是一个学生。好 ，Mark Zuckerberg 他 launched a service， 他推出了一个服务。好，在2月3日的这个节目里面，我们谈到这个 launch a brand new product。啊，那在这里 launched a service 的意思都一样，就推出了一个服务。那它称为 The Facebook。好，那刚刚 Angela 讲说这个 The Facebook 其实就是哈佛他们这个新生进来的时候呢，那一年他们就是他会有这么一个 Facebook 的东西，就是会把学生把它列在那个上面啊。好，那他借用了这个名字，好，所以他说这个他这个事情啊，他推出这个 The Facebook 的服务啊，是在哈佛大学。
So the original idea was that Zuckerberg's website would serve as a source of information for Harvard students about other students on campus that they might like to get to know. So the point is, the Facebook, as it existed in Harvard, was here are the incoming people, here's everything you need to know about them, now go forth and make friends. So he was like, oh yeah, that's cool, let's put this on the internet though.
好，所以呢，这个地方他讲到说 ，the original idea 原来的想法是说，这原来的想法是说这个他做的这个网站呢 ，would serve as 可以当做一个 source of information 一个资讯的来源那 for Harvard students 给哈佛的学生 about 关于什么呢 ？other students on campus 关于校园里面其他的学生 that they might like to get to know 他们可能想要认识的。好，所以这个就像 Angela 老师刚刚讲的，他其实他原来 idea 就是因为他这个 The Facebook 就是把那些新生的这些可能包括照片或者什么资料放在那上面。那其实最一开始他的想法目的是说，那你有兴趣的人可以看看这个，本来只是希望能够让大家去交朋友
And the Facebook, as it originally was called, was an instant hit. It was a hit. It was very popular, with more than 1,000 students registering accounts within the first 24 hours. They got 1,000 registered users. If you register for something, you sign up for it, you give your details, and presumably you start paying. I don't know. Was it a paid service in the beginning, or was it free? It's probably free. Mm-hmm. So registering isn't always about paying, but it is about collecting your information and being organized into a system.
Yeah, 好，所以这个register 就是注册那你注册其实不只是注册，注册其实是包括对方就拥有你的资讯了所以这地方讲到说这个 The Facebook was an instant hit 那所谓的 was something 如果是个 instant hit 就表示它立刻就很受欢迎，立刻就很成功那他有超过1000个学生 registering 注册在他的这个账户上注册，而且是最早的一开始的24小时就有1000个学生。那我想这样的东西，如果在不管是哪一个大学，你只要推出这种东西，你说我现在这里有所有今年新生的资料照片都在这边然后这 contact information email 都在这边之类的，我想任何一个大学 这个推出来之后，一定马上就大家都疯狂啊，就会去上面注册啊，因为哇太棒了，我可以看到今年进来的新生啊等等的哈，所以这个我觉得这不是 The Facebook 他自己多棒，而是他抓到了这种人性了。
Yeah, so it was an idea that was clearly like everyone was waiting for.
Yeah, 大家都在等。
I mean, you have to understand the internet at this time was a very different animal than it is now. At the time, if you wanted to communicate with people on the internet, you had to go to like a university or some other connected company and find and get a web address from them. You couldn't just sign up for webmail. Google didn't exist yet. I think maybe Yahoo was just starting to do an email service at that time, but that was also a brand new idea too, that you could just sign up for free and get an email from a company. So having an identity that was traceable and findable on the internet was amazing. Most internet interactions were completely anonymous or at least pseudonymous. People didn't know who they were talking to, and nobody knew the real information about anybody else. Yeah. And the Facebook came in and said, hey, we're going to make real people, findable through the internet, which at the time no one had thought of. You could barely find regular information on the internet until like information searching companies started organizing like access to information.
好，所以那个时候的网络跟现在很不一样。那个时候网络啊，大家在上面呢，大概很少人用真名，或者是这个彼此很难找到对方的讯息啊，你可能只能找到公司、找到学校之类的哈。所以当他有这样的一个服务推出之后，大家当然就觉得哇太棒了哈，现在就可以直接这个认识或者直接知道有谁是在哪里或哪一个系之类的啊，所以大家都觉得这个非常的棒。
So by the end of 2004, now just Facebook, the site was being used by students from more than 50 colleges across the United States. Because just like you said, college students were very interested in being able to find a way to connect with each other. Yeah. Now notice that we've already stopped calling it the Facebook, probably because Harvard was a little bit like, hey guys, we're already using that name. And so they changed the name.
好，所以呢这个到2004年底啊，那现在它已经改为叫做 Facebook 啊。那也许这个哈佛跟他讲说，我们的 Facebook 我们一直在用了，你自己要用的话要换一个啊。他也蛮炸的，他就直接把的拿掉就好了啊，还是 Facebook。好，然后呢 ，the site 就被这个学生来使用，而且这些学生是来自于全美国超过50所大学啊。那我觉得这里面可能也有某种不公平存在哈。为什么是这50所大学？他们也许经过某种审查，或者是这50所大学他们拥有比较多的资源等等的啊。那这个背后，我的意思，这个背后还有很多我们不知道的细节。
Not long afterwards, the platform became accessible to non-students, so you didn't have to be a college student to be able to sign up and use Facebook.
Yeah, 好
sign up for and use.
好，所以呢 be accessible to 就是可以被谁取得。好，所以他说 not long afterward， 不久之后呢，这个 platform 这个平台就变得是你非学生也可以取得也可以能够得到或者用到这个平台。好，那当然很多社会人士这个当然觉得对，很棒，我可以认识一下这些新的学生或者是甚至于以后就开始慢慢的彼此认识。
The rest, as they say, is history, which is to say everything that happened after that is well known or well documented in the history books.
Yeah, the rest is history. 就是接下来的事情大家都知道了，我就不用多说，你们都知道了。
So, but how has Facebook shaped our lives over the past 17 years? This is the beginning of like a 16-part television documentary or a thick book. Okay, this is not a small question.
Yeah, 那他说，那 Facebook 是如何在过去的这17年以来，它会 shaped our lives， 是如何的形塑了我们的生活呢？好，那这个东西就很值得探讨了。你可以从各种不同的面向，那这个可能可以做出很长的10几集的一个documentary， 一个纪录片，或者甚至于可以是好几本书可以讨论的一个内容。那 Facebook 是如何的形塑了人类的文明那不见得都是好的，所以这个呢是很值得我们大家去做一些批判性思考的一个议题。
There is no denying that Facebook has played a major role in the current era of user-generated content. So there's no denying that means that everyone can see this. You can't say it's not true. What can we say is true is that Facebook has played a major role, that it is one of the main players, it's one of the main influencers in the current era, in our period of user-generated content, systems in which the users are invited to create content, and then the users and the content are the product which the company then sells to advertisers. So like users donate their time and energy to the company to make money on.
好，所以呢 there's no denying that 就没有人可以否认就是我们不能否认Facebook 怎么样呢 has played a major role in something 就是它在某个事情上面扮演了一个重要的角色主要的角色在什么事情上面呢在 the current era of user-generated content 那这个地方各位可以学起来 the current era of something 例文可以讲 the current era of online shopping 所以目前我们这个时代怎么样是网上购物的时代那在这里是现在 current 就目前的这个世代或者这个时代 era 目前的时代这里讲的是 user-generated 这个 content user-generated 就是用户原创内容的这样这个 content 就内容好那 user generated 那其实就是 Facebook 上面的那个内容都是用户在这个创作的都是他们在写的他们在贴的东西但是这个Facebook 他们就可以让你能够分享这些东西当然在分享的过程当中这公司当然也可以从中获利
So the sentence says, however, the development and growth of Facebook has not been without its controversies.
However 就是说它这个有重要的角色但是呢它的这个成长它的发展也不是 has not been without its controversies 就是也不是没有争议换句话说就是有争议的意思
So in recent years Facebook has invited criticism. They've said, hey, come and criticize us. No, that's not true. But your actions can invite criticism. If you do stuff that's wrong, then people are thoroughly justified it in coming along and saying, that's wrong. So in that way, Facebook has invited criticism for enabling its users. Enabling is the right word. They didn't just say, oops, this kind of happened. They actually made it easy for it to happen, or you could even argue deliberately caused it to happen. But publicly, the best you can say is that they enabled its users. They helped its users to influence global politics by spreading false information. This happened in the U.S., this happened in India, this happened in Myanmar. It's happened well-documentedly happened in a number of places.
好，那最近几年呢Facebook has invited invite 在这里就是指招致一些不好的事情to bring on 或者是 provoke P-R-O-V-O-K-E 所以通常你可以 invite trouble 你可以 invite disaster by your action 那在这里它是 invite criticism 就他做的一些事情招致了人家的批评他做了什么事情呢他 enable 就 enable 就是使得这件事情成为可能换句话说他在里面他也是 played a role 甚至于可能是个 major role 他让他的这个使用者呢可以影响全球的政治怎么样影响呢这个很糟糕的是他们可以透过 spreading false information 他就透过一些假讯息然后呢影响全球的政治那这个我想是所有的人生活在现代的人所有人都要注意的就是网络上的东西有太多不可信的东西这个是绝对一定要有的一个认识所以绝对不可以网络上说什么你就觉得是什么
Furthermore, many have questioned Facebook's data protection policies. So a lot of people are like, is the data you're giving Facebook safe? And they argue that the platform does not do enough to protect its users' personal information.
Yeah, 好，所以他此外呢，很多人质疑 many have questioned Facebook 它的 data protection policies 它的这个资讯保护的一些做法policy 可以是做法也可以是政策那 arguing 就这些人认为说 the platform 就是 Facebook does not do enough to 它没有做到足够的事情也就是它没有好好的去怎么样 protect its users personal information 没有好好去保护它的使用者的个人资料
I don't know. I just find it wild that in the 90s, everyone was cautioned, don't put your real information on the internet. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
And then Facebook comes along and says, we want to do a real information network system because we want the internet to be open and real and not everyone hiding behind these fake identities where they can do bad things with. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, you know, that makes sense. We can be on the internet as we are in real life. Except that now, so everyone now puts all their information on the internet and then bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
And we're like, the 90s was actually the better attitude.
Yeah.
You know? But
yeah, 所以这个里面当然问题非常的多了哈，所以我觉得其实还是很重要，就是其实网络大家要知道它毕竟是个虚拟的世界，但是你如果不小心使用网络的话，它绝对会影响你的真实世界啊，所以这个中间怎么样去保护自己，那怎么样做能够做到网络上面使用的时候能够得到安全，这个是大家都要注意的一个问题。
Nevertheless, Facebook continues to go from strength to strength and will likely remain one of the world's most valuable companies for many years to come. I would say that you can actually memorize this sentence and put it at the end of any report about any company, because this is exactly the kind of anodyne, well-meaning, nice thing that you can say while also sounding smart and intelligent.
Yeah. 所以最后这句话呢，各位其实可以把它背起来哈，就是你要谈论任何公司，你最后一句都可以讲都可以把这句话写出来，因为这句话呢，这个英文写得漂漂亮亮的哈，它是一个结束这样子的一个文章很好的一个句子啊。怎样好呢？各位可以注意到，例如说他用到一个很好的说法，叫 continues to go from strength to strength， 意思就是越来越好，不断的壮大，好蒸蒸日上，越来越成功。
It doesn't actually say they're getting bigger.
Yeah.
It just says that they're continuing to do successful things.
Yeah， 他只是说他们会持续的做一些很成功的事情啊，所以这感觉起来就是哇不错啊，那这个非常的健康的那种感觉啊。那接下来他说 and will likely remain， 很可能会持续成为one of the world's most valuable companies 啊，这个全世界最有价值的公司，因为 valuable 可以指他们赚很多钱哈，赚到钱多的乱七八糟哈。或者是他们是有价值的，但不管怎么样都是很正面的。那 for many years to come， 未来还有很多年，大概都是这样子。所以 it's a very nice thing to say about any company that you like.
I just realized you could also use a person. You could also say this at the end of a summary of a person.
Oh.
Like if you're doing a performance review or something, or writing about a famous, or you're writing about a valuable employee.
Yeah, 这个其实可以指人，你把 company 换掉就可以了哈之类的哈。
Yeah.
Yeah.Okay,
so now on the bottom of the paper, we have two questions under what did you learn? Number one is, what was the original name of Facebook?
好，所以 Facebook 原来的名字是什么呢？
And the answer is the Facebook.
好，所以原来名字是 the Facebook.
And number two, why was Facebook recently criticized?
好 ，Facebook 为什么最近被人家批评呢？
And the answer is that it enabled its users to influence global politics by spreading false information.
好，因为它让它的使用者可以散布一些假讯息，然后进而影响这个世界的政治。
Okay, that is all that we have for you today, but please come again and join us for more Ivy English. Until then, bye-bye.